So we pick up where we left off with Lucifer trying to hunt down Thoth, who has taken it upon himself to assume that because of the trap that he has been lured into becoming a pawn in a game too large for him to even see the manipulations leading him, he blindly becomes obsessed with the destruction of the archangels, whom he now views as petty unevolved beings that masquerade as gods to the people, not as the highest ascension of heroes and legends, but as an illusion group of beings no less or more than the mortals they control, nothing close to what he considers himself to be, a manifested incarnate of a true God upon the earth. An image that should be revered instead of patronized as the Egyptian gods had done to him. The tale begins once again with Thoth devising the destruction of their angelic guardians, who shall be depicted here as the pillars of balance. But there is one problem that could unfold all his plans and deluded dreams: Lucifer. Realizing that Lucifer possessed a power that far surpassed any magic he had ever encountered, he began to form a path to possessing such power himself. Thus he started orchestrating a means to attain this by aiming for his heavenly brother and undermining his foretold destiny by sculpting the prophecies of Horus in order to pinpoint specific areas of Jesus's life and store the spells needed to perform the miracles that will deify him as anything but a mortal man, so that he can assume his position within the Trinity angels of creation and destroy his elusive future incarnate through surpassing his position of authority as the favored Son of God.
Whole and uncorrupted. I had never beheld them in this undefiled state, yet something profound and indelible resonated within me at the sight. And there, waiting at the very heart of the pillars, was the canker that was destined to destroy them.
I know you're there, Raziel.
Mobius led me to you, Cain, though I might have guessed you'd meet me here.
And if Mobius told you I was hidden on the underside of hell, would you throw yourself into oblivion to pursue me? Mobius trawls for the ignorant and unwary, hauling his gasping prey from the streams of their destinies. Stay out of his net, Raziel.
Spare me your elaborate metaphors, Cain. I have pursued you here for one purpose. You will pay for your betrayal, and balance will thus be restored to Nosgoth.
And whose will is satisfied then? The will of Raziel or Mobius?
Would I be better manipulated by you, Cain? Now, turn and face me. The chase is over.
This isn't a chase, Raziel. We are merely passengers on the wheel of destiny, describing a perfect circle to this point. We've been brought here for a reason. I've seen the beginning and the end of our story, however, and the tale is crude and ill-conceived. We must rewrite the ending of it. You and I.
Face me, Cain. Even you shouldn't die a coward's death.
Isn't it customary to grant the condemned a final request?
I recall no such courtesy from you.
Indulge me, Raziel. All I ask is that you listen. This is the sublime moment of our undoing, Raziel. The ineffable fulcrum upon which swings the entirety of our history. This is where all of Nosgoth is betrayed. In this instant, Ariel, the Balance Guardian, is murdered by dark forces bent on overthrowing the pillars. Her spirit is just now tearing free, lost in the ether, trying to find its way here. You have already seen how she comes to haunt these pillars.
Bound here by your refusal to die. You are the reason this land becomes diseased. As long as you remain alive, you condemn Nosgoth to an eternity of decay.
Be still, Raziel. See this. As Ariel dies, I am being born to take her place as Balance Guardian. Such is my destiny.
My God.
At the moment of my first cry, Ariel's beloved, the Guardian Nut Raptor, finds her corpse. Racked with grief and tormented by suspicions of treachery, Nupraptor plunges into a madness which overflows and infects all of the Guardians who are symbiotically bound, including me. The repercussions of Ariel's assassination were expertly calculated. The entire circle descends into madness, and I am tainted at the moment of my birth, instantly rendered incapable of fulfilling the role destiny has prepared for me.
Shall I show you the same mercy you showed the rest of the circle, then? You blithely murdered them to restore their pillars, yet your hand faltered when it came to the final sacrifice. What makes you exempt, Cain? You're merely the last man standing. Why condemn me for simply carrying out what you hadn't the courage to do yourself?
Let's drop the moral posturing, shall we? We both know there's no altruism in this pursuit. Your reckless indignation led you here. I counted on it. There's no shame in it, Raziel. Revenge is motivation enough. At least it's honest. Hate me, but do it honestly. 30 years hence, I am presented with a dilemma. Let's call it a two-sided coin. If the coin falls one way, I sacrifice myself and thus restore the pillars. But as the last surviving vampire in Nosgoth, this would mean the annihilation of our species. Mobius made sure of that. If the coin lands on the reverse, I refuse the sacrifice and thus doom the pillars to an eternity of collapse. Either way, the game is rigged.
We agree, then, that the pillars are crucial and must be restored.
Yes, Raziel. And that's why we've come full circle to this place.
So after all this, you make my case for me. To end this stalemate, you must die so that new Guardians can be born.
Pillars don't belong to them, Raziel. They belong to us.
Your arrogance is boundless, Cain.
There's a third option. A monumental secret, hidden in your very presence here. But it's a secret you have to discover for yourself. Unearth your destiny, Raziel. It's all laid out for you here.
You said it yourself, Cain. There are only two sides to your coin.
Apparently so. But suppose you throw a coin enough times. Suppose one day it lands on its edge.
I didn't know what impulse stayed my hand, why I had so willingly allowed Cain to escape me when I had pursued him for so long. I had no reason to trust Cain after he had valued me so little, and yet I found myself intrigued by his words. I had been too cruelly used to so gullibly play his pawn, but if this world truly had secrets to divulge, I was determined to expose them.
Thinking that he has become entitled, as the adversary assumes that he is Satan, but unaware that there was an evil within the universe long before Earth ever existed. Back on the homeworld of the progenitor race whose technology had been used by God to seed the life upon this world is a forgotten adversary to the race of the ones we called angels that were at one point the first hosts of the angelic beings, for they were the first life forms to emerge in creation. Many call them in legend to be the Anunnaki. They were the original species from which all life in the universe first came from. When their world was destroyed, the asteroids that flew through space, eventually crashing into worlds across the universe, and with them they carried the mycobacterial elements needed to seed life on those planets that they slammed into, frozen deep within the cores of the rock beneath the surface of the asteroids. Their technology, advanced beyond any human comprehension, followed this microbial debris. However, before the planet's destruction, their warning system and planetary defense network experienced a glitch implanted by an unknown source, overriding its main protocols, and became a tool of their species' destruction as it hunted down any escaping pods of survivors. This Skynet-like primordial enemy was labeled Cthulhu, and it had arrived here long ago, tracking down remnants of the progenitor's technology, having seeded the life here on this world. So it instinctively hated mankind and sought to destroy all life upon this world, for it represented the likeness of its maker.
I tried to decipher these images. A great war, but with combatants like none I had ever seen. The pillars, raised by this winged race, who thus defeated their adversaries. The winged beings again, writhing in agony, apparently afflicted with the same bloodthirst I had so recently suffered. And throughout the chamber, inscribed everywhere, images of the Reaver itself. Was this what Cain had urged me to discover? I wondered.
Lies, Raziel. Do not be deceived.
Ah, my ancient benefactor. And I dared to hope we had parted ways forever. The silence was refreshing, but it lasted. No doubt you have a conveniently inexpressible reason for your presence here?
Do not be insolent, Raziel. I am eternally present here and everywhere, now and always. I am the still center of the turning wheel, the hub of this world's destiny.
But perhaps not so omnipotent as you'd have me believe. Your hold on me appears to be tenuous. I no longer seem to need you. Yet I'm guessing you still need me.
This impudence is unworthy of you, Raziel. Do not forget that you have a task to fulfill here. You are indebted to me.
Indebted? You would have me show gratitude for a gift I didn't ask to be bestowed. Do you forget that you forced me to inhabit this vile carcass?
I restored you to yourself, Raziel. It was Cain who destroyed you. The very enemy you've just let slip through your grasp. Do not fail me, my servant.
I serve no one. Not you, not Cain, and not your lackey Mobius.
Mobius is my good servant. I have many.
And if I tell Mobius that he's worshipping a giant squid, do you think his faith will falter?
You have grown willful, Raziel. But beware. To embrace a serpent is to invite poison into your heart. Cain is a sinuous beast. He will seduce and deceive you. You pride yourself on your free will, yet you let that degenerate deter your resolve.
I harbor no illusions about his integrity, nor anyone else's. In fact, I am beset by manipulation on all sides. I merely seek the truth.
These are the fathomless truths, Raziel. The agony of birth and death and rebirth. This is the wheel of fate, the purifying cycle which sustains all life. Vampires are an abomination, a plague which leeches this land of its spiritual strength. They obstruct the flow of life and death. Their souls stagnate in their wretched corpses. But the wheel must turn. Death is inexorable and cannot be denied. Your destiny is irresistible, Raziel. You are my soul reaver, the scourge of the vampires, reaper of their apostate souls. Remain steadfast, end the vampire's parasitic curse, and restore Nosgoth. Cain's blood belongs on your hands.
Cain indeed deserves to die for condemning me to this repugnant form, but if and when I kill him, it will be for me alone to decide.
Cain destroyed you without a flicker of remorse. He tore the soul from your noble corpse, and after you had served him faithfully for 1,000 years, he discarded you in the abyss on a jealous whim. Remember your rage, Raziel. Let it guide your hand.
When it arrived, however, there was a malfunction within its guidance systems and crashed in the southernmost region of our world, freezing it beneath the sheets of ice, obstructing its systems from being able to regenerate its power cells and thus keeping the greatest enemy this world could ever know, frozen and asleep beneath the ice of Antarctica. Yet it was not so easily contained and had a backup power generating system that was not strong enough to power its ship's systems, but it could generate enough power to allow it to maintain its holographic projection sensors and basic processors. So thus Cthulhu became known in our legends as the Sleeping Ancient One, but it hardly slept unless you count the forced systems shutdowns that it constantly had to run just to maintain what functions it had. It has been the harbinger of every evolutionary stage of man since Adam, and it is entertained by this self-proclaimed god imitating his name, so he has empowered these two opposing forces by leading them both to bear his name to keep the attention from both those not of this world and those on it distracted by their rivalry as he works towards his agenda in secret. And so once again Lucifer finds himself projected back through time to the moment of God's betrayal to him. What was Cthulhu's purpose for sending him here? Was there something he missed that was being pointed out? Time shall inexorably tell, it seemed.
Do you see, gods of Olympus? Do you need more proof than this?
Placing all of his godly power into the weapon had rendered Kratos mortal, vulnerable to the arms of death. Bloodied and beaten, he knew that to have any hope of survival, he must retrieve the blade of Olympus. Humiliated before his Spartan army, Kratos dragged himself up from the dirt.
Yes, I am forced to attend to this matter myself. Athena refused to undo her mistake. Imagine caring for a creature such as yourself.
Why? Why would you betray me?
It is you who would betray me. Am I to stand idly by while Olympus is threatened? Your hands are already stained by the blood of a god. I will not let Ares' fate be my own.
The gods are petty and pathetic, and your rule is weak.
I grow tired of this insolence. I am the king of Olympus. And it is my way that is the way of the gods. You must vow to forever serve me.
I serve no one.
Then you leave me no choice. It did not have to be this way, my son. This path is of your choosing.
A choice from the gods is as useless as the gods themselves.
Even now, as you draw your last breath, you continue to defy me!
Everything you have ever known, Kratos, will now suffer because of your sacrilege. You will never be the ruler of Olympus. The cycle ends here. You will pay for this, Zeus. Be certain of that.
As the life drained out of Kratos, the arms of Hades reached out to claim their prize. But there was more resting on Kratos' shoulders than he could know. Kratos was destined to bring about change so severe that it would shake the very pillars of Mount Olympus. His death was something that I could not allow.